The Dice Tower, episode 559, Origins Preview 2018. Yay!
The Dice Tower is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. This episode is sponsored by USAopoly. Share laughter and make memories. Welcome to the Dice Tower, a podcast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them.
In today's show, the elusive Tom joins Mandi and me to talk all about the food and some of the games we're going to enjoy at Origins this week. I'm Suzanne Sheldon.
I'm Mandy Hutchinson.
And
I'm visiting guest Tom Vassell. It does really feel like I'm a guest
Tom,
on my own
I'm sure
show.
Everyone's so happy you're here.
Yes, folks. Do not worry. I'm taking the reins back next week. Next week will be our live show from Origins, so we'll be recording that one there. And then I actually don't know who's doing an episode after that. I think it's me. I'm not sure, but I'm back.
It should be.
Yeah.
People miss you, Tom.
They do.
We're doing a live show at Dice Tower Con too.
Oh, yeah.
We will be. It'll be so much fun.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
It's convention season for sure.
Are you already starting to feel it? I mean, it's at the beginning of convention season, Tom, but you've got to already be a little tired.
I really felt it when I went to the UK Games Expo because it was my fourth convention in 4 weeks. And when we landed, I normally fight the jet lag, and I didn't even try. I fell asleep. Everywhere we would travel, they look back, I slept. I'd be like, the car started, I'm going to sleep. Car gets there, I wake up, walk around, look at stuff, get back in the car, go to sleep. So it was just tiring. But I'm complaining about going to conventions, so I know people are listening like, oh, how tough to go to game conventions.
Yeah, cry as a river, Tom.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, not only will we have a live podcast, right, at Origins, but you and Crystal and Eric are going to try to do... Are you going to try to do a live Dice Tower tonight together?
Yeah, actually, I'm excited, folks. Next week, we have a lot of live stuff. Since we're talking about Origins, we know if you're there, please come see us. We'll get to that in a bit. But if you're not there, we're doing live, interviewing people all week long. Well, this is assuming the internet works. So we're going to be doing that on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Wednesday night, yes, me and Eric and Crystal from afar will be joining us for Dice Tower tonight. And then Saturday is a weird day. If you are going to Origins, come on by Saturday morning and get in line, and I'm just letting anyone come on video and show me any game. I almost never look at prototypes or Kickstarters or listen to people giving you ideas, but I'm doing it Saturday morning. I've done it for the last couple of years, and so far I haven't stopped doing it. But you only have a few minutes.
Oh my gosh, Mandy. Prepare for the scam.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. Note to self, schedule Saturday morning.
Maybe we can be bouncers.
Prepare to duck.
I think I have you guys on the table at that point. But yeah, so we're doing these things. Saturday night is our live show. So if you're at Origins, that's going to be at 8 o'clock, or it might start a little bit later, depending on how long the Origins Awards go. It's in Union Ballroom B. So we would love you to come to that. And it does say on the schedule you have to pay a ticket to get in. But I promise you we'll get you in one way or the other if you show up. And then I think it's, the booth, right? We're in Hall C, 203. We'll have a hanging sign for the first time ever at a convention.
Hall C, 203.
Yeah, Hall C is the place to be.
Is this the one that looks like a swimming pool?
Well, it only looks like a swimming pool if it's on the ground.
Oh, okay.
But it has all our dice guys on it.
It does look like a cool pool.
It has all the little dice guys. And I'm just kind of excited to have these signs. I don't know. I really like the dice guys, and I'm actually excited because Tina Borghino, who is the artist for these, has a booth at Origins.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yes, well, that's where I met her. I met her there a couple years ago, and I always go to the artist section because I like art. Mm-hmm. I like putting it up all over the walls of my house. And so I walked through there, and I saw, and she did this, I will sketch you something, a dice guy in a minute. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say I'll sketch you a dice guy.
Oh, wow.
I would do a sketch, dollar minute sketch. I forget what it was. So I said, why don't you dice the? I told her about the dice guy who falls through the tower in the videos, and asked her to draw it, and she did, and I liked it. So I emailed her later and said, do you do logos? And that's where it started.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, that's I had no idea that's how it started. That's a really cool story.
Yeah, so I think we should push her booth and swing by and see her in the artist alley.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I've never been to Origins. This is my first Origins. So you're going to have to help point me in the right direction to all these places, Tom. I'm definitely looking to the team who's been experienced at Origins before to help guide my experience there.
We will. North Market.
Yeah.
See, this is my first one working with Dice Tower. So I'm looking forward to the very nice hours and meeting all the fun people.
At the booth, right? So, Tom, you were saying that we're in Hall C. What's the booth going to be like? Because I know I'm not quite sure. We're going to be talking to publishers and hearing about all their new stuff coming out. But there's also like a table set up where if people are just hanging out and want to come say hi, they can come say hi too, right?
Yeah, we'll have a schedule, and there'll be someone from the Dice Tower, and lots of our contributors will be there. We'll be covering that booth during the show hours from, I don't know, like 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon when we all go to dinner. We then will shut our booth down, and at night we'll open it back up because, hey, we're going to play games there. Because we figured, why should we go pay $20 to go play in the open gaming area when we have our own little open gaming area? And we invite you guys to come play games with us there if you can get in. So there's that. During the day, though, yeah, we're bringing in all kinds of publishers. We'll sit there and ask them questions and about their things. And when we're done with them showing off their games, then we'll move them to the live stream, and you guys can, on the live stream, can ask them questions. So we do all that, but at the same time, we'll have the booth there. We have promos for the Dice Tower and Dice Towers and things like that.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Origins has been on my wish list. I have listened to you and Eric talk about Origins for years, and it's always been high on my wish list, and I'm so excited to go. I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited. And the other thing, right? So you're going to tell me to go to Artist Alley and all this other stuff. You're gonna help me find the right places to eat, right, Tom? I mean, I count on you for this.
There's no question in my mind now. I'm counting on my fingers here. I think this is either my 13th or 14th Origins. But yes, if there's one place to eat, Origins is easily the best food city we've been to. With the possible exception, Philadelphia came pretty close. I was so impressed by Philadelphia. But yeah, there's lots of places to eat. And Origins is that nice mix of easygoing, but also has a big exhibitor hall. It's not Gen Con big, but it's still big. So it's kind of like, lots of stuff to see, but also laid back where we get to spend time with people. I think you will enjoy it, but then again, I think you would enjoy any con pretty much.
Pretty much. And after Origins, I mean, we just talked about con season, right? We've got Dice Tower Con coming up soon after in July, right?
Right, yeah. Oof, that's so close. But yes, it is coming around. It's right around the corner.
And then, Mandy, I heard a rumor you're going to attend a Dice Tower retreat.
Yes, this is a new revelation here. And I had so many people asking, are you going, are you going, are you going? And I'm like, wow, people are going to start to think that I actually don't have a full-time job. So, how am I going to find time to go? But it's over like a weekend, and I have, the extra day off, so I will be going. But I'll be going on the secondary dates. Tom, what are the dates on that one? The 14th, 15th December, around there?
Yeah, it's the first and second week of December. It's right after PAX. So yeah, we're working on those. Right. If you've emailed me about them, you're on a list. They are currently in the process of filling up right now. By the time you hear this, they're full. I feel like it. It might not be true, but they probably are. And if you email me and said I haven't heard from you yet, we will email you either way, whether you get in or not. And I apologize. Well, maybe we'll run more of these. I didn't expect the demand to be so overwhelming.
That's pretty exciting. It sounds like it's going to be small and intimate and really play-focused, and I'm super envious, and I hope you have a fabulous time.
Yeah, but then a few months after that, there's the cruise, so you're good.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, also, Florida in December sounds a lot better to me than Florida in July, I gotta admit.
Florida's always good.
Well, we're going to talk all about Origins games and what's kind of catching our eye. But before that, I mean, we've been playing games now, right?
Of course.
So I thought we're gonna talk a little bit about some games that we've been playing, and then we'll dive into our Origins anticipation list. Sound good?
Works for me.
Yep.
All right. Well, I feel like it's been a while. Well, actually, no, that was last week with Eric. So we're gonna talk about games we've played. Yay! Yay! And I'm going to start. And guess what? I'm so happy because I'm talking about Pursuit of Happiness and the community expansion. Have all of you guys played this one?
No, I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yes.
I feel Tom has.
Tom's played everything.
I know. Why do I even bother asking that question? Okay, so Pursuit of Happiness, designed by Adrian Nabella, David Shirkop, Vangelis Begier-Takis. Artist is Panagiotis Liris, and the publishers are Tipia Games and Stronghold Games. So in the Pursuit of Happiness, it's basically like a Euro game of life. So you can get a job, make some money, have a relationship, which apparently is quite expensive. You can get promoted. They do that on purpose, right? They're trying to mirror life here. And it's a worker placement type game. And you're basically trying to build a life. So doing all these things to raise your family. In the community version, they add some new types of cards, which have community events. And basically, it's just another way for you to gain points or add different aspects to your life through, your jobs, partners, life goals, and so forth. I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was very thematic because it takes you from, young age, middle age, and then to old age. I don't know anybody who's managed to get past the last stages of old age because, oh my goodness, I never make it. But I really enjoyed this game because it's really thematic. You can choose the type of characters you want to be, the relationships you want to be in, and the fact that, there's male, female on the cards. I like that. But it really resembled the game of life, but better. You know what I mean? So more current to what's happening today. And it's worker placement and like Euro-style game of life. Come on. You all know that's right up my alley. So Pursuit of Happiness, community. I very, very much enjoyed this game. It plays, I think, up to 5 with the expansion, which is another nice touch. And I didn't find it went on too long. We really, really enjoyed it. I did hear people say they had some issues. They didn't see how anybody would make it past. There's I think a couple rounds near the end in the older age stage. And by that time, you're using so many workers. There's no way. You die before you even get there. I don't know if Tom, I know that sounds horrible. I don't know if Tom had that situation with it as well, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
That you die early, you mean?
Yeah, people were saying you die early and they didn't understand how you would even get past. I think there's 1 or 2 rounds there in the older age stage where I guess you're using so many workers, to complete the events and things like that. You just don't have enough. You're in the red. People are finding you're in the red when you get to that last round, and it's really hard to get back out.
Well, sure. I mean, it's supposed to be that way, though.
Right, like life.
Your old age is catching up to you, and only if you manage to do yoga or something in your younger years. I've never made it to old age, and although the last time I played, I said I'm going to be anti-thematic for me, so no relationships, nothing. I was going to concentrate on my job, and I got caught up in doing that and building a big board game collection because that was an important thing to me. And then, for some reason, I got a blind date right before I died, and married her. So, yay!
Oh gosh, I really gotta try this game.
No, you do. And actually, the way Tom described it, I don't think my explanation did it. That would sell you. What Tom just said right there, that'll sell you the game.
Well, actually, when we were at the UK Games Expo, me, Z, and Dave Lucer recorded our top 10 games we love, but we suck at. And this is one, because I get so caught up in my life story, whatever it is, that I don't really care if I win. I'm so caught up in I'm going to be the star. I want to get invited to my neighbor's party. And you're like, yeah, I've been invited to my neighbor's party. That didn't matter that much. You're going to lose. But I got to that party, man. So it's fun for me.
I love it. See, and that's the point. It's a lot of fun. So there you go. Pursuit of Happiness and community expansion. What about you, Suzanne?
Well, I've been fighting battles with panda bears. In Way of the Panda from CMON Expo. Now, Way of the Panda was actually one of the swag games that everyone who attended CMON Expo got, which floored me when I saw that.
That's pretty good swag.
Yeah. Holy cow. And I mean, I think, honestly, that pays for the badge itself. You pay to spend the weekend playing all these games or whatever, but then you get this swag bag, and it was ridiculous.
It was so good.
Got Way of the Panda, and this is an area control game with some action selection going on. Mm-hmm. And, of course, it's the CMON production, so you just have these incredible components in it. It's designed by Andrea Manini, Walter Bear, Alberto Vendramini, and what you've got is you've got this main big board that kind of looks like a map with little villages on it, and then you've got this side action board. And you've got 3 big pandas and then a bunch of little pandas. And you're going to be doing those little pandas are almost currency. And you go down this action selection board, and the cheaper actions are on the top of the board, more expensive actions and more powerful actions as you go down. You're going to select the actions that you want to do, whether it's move your pandas around the board or collect tokens based on what you qualify or build buildings. Those are the kind of actions you're going to be taking on this action selection board. And then, doing it on the board itself. There are ninjas you have to fight off, so you have to kind of qualify. You have to build up your big pandas to be strong enough to go from location to location. And you're going to be accumulating at the end of the game. You're going to have tokens on your board that count for points, and cities that you've been collecting on the board and building up on the board are going to count for points and all that other stuff. I'm not a huge area control fan in general, so I'll start my
Are you
comments.
not?
Really not, in general.
I thought you were.
It's just not
They're
my...
amazing.
Not saying they're bad. They're just not always my favorite. And, for Way of the Panda, I loved the action selection part of the game, because that action selection board I talked about, you're managing the currency of your pandas, and there's also action point management you're balancing. And I like this element of you can't go backwards. So you have these cheap actions that you still need to take up at top, but once you go down this board, you cannot go back. So maybe a lot of the movement actions are up on top of the board, but you're like, oh, I really got to grab that market building spot before anybody else gets to it. Well, if you jump all the way down to the market building spot, you're not going to be able to go back and take those movement actions. I really love that element. It's akin to something like in Francis Drake or Heaven and Ale, right? You're going in that circular action track and you can't go backwards. It feels similar to me to that. And I absolutely love that part of this game. But then, you're doing all this action selection to build it on the board and build, travel and fight ninjas and have enough strength to go over ninjas and build these buildings and build up cities and all that other stuff. And that just wasn't as exciting to me. It was fine. It just wasn't my favorite part of the game. I love the action selection. The kind of area control build up on the cities was like, okay to me. The other thing we learned pretty quickly after our first play, or like inches into our first play, you seed the board. When you first start to play, you put your pandas out and you kind of pick where you want to go. It's like a snake draft for areas. This is absolutely critical. If you do not understand the importance of movement and pick appropriately, you can be in big trouble. Like the monk characters, they're harder to move around, and if you put your monk in the wrong location, you can get stuck and be really, really limited. And that's something we learned in our first play. We're like, oh, okay, next time we'll do it differently. Next time we did it differently, and it was much, much better. So that's more of a caveat to anybody who's going to play it. Make sure you're really paying attention to that when you're seeding the board. But
I heard that someone else had mentioned to me that placement in the beginning is extremely important, and they feel like that should have been something they added, like a starting, like for your first game, you should start here.
I can see
that would have
having
made
value.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that adding a lot of value. So overall, I really, I enjoyed Way of the Panda. The components are, of course, out of control. Each of these big pandas has a different, unique sculpt. Some of them have really awesome-looking weapons, just like these big stars, and I don't know. It's pretty impressive component-wise. And some really fun, cool action selection. Is it my favorite new game? No. But I think if you like action selection and you like that area control and stuff like that, I think it could appeal to you.
I haven't played it yet. Tom, have you played this one? Yeah.
I have. I'm still not sure why they're pandas. You could replace them with humans and it wouldn't have changed the game at all. No, look, I like pandas. I'm just saying they didn't do anything in this game to say they're pandas, if that makes sense.
No, totally. And I mean, in some ways, I think it dodges some of the maybe more sensitive thematic elements of the game. I think that, but
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's nothing panda-ish about it for sure, other than their interesting sculpts.
That's true, and they are really pretty, and they're very fun, and I think the game is a pretty solid game. It's in the middle of the pack for me.
Yeah. So that's Way of the Panda from Simon.
Well, speaking of excellent miniatures and excellent production and just excellent all around, let me tell you about one of the best family/kids games I've ever played, and that's My Little Scythe. Which, if you remember, I thought was a joke a year ago when we were doing our live Dice Tower show. Someone asked a question, and it didn't make any sense. He was talking about My Little Pony mixed with Scythe, and I was like, is that guy drunk back there? Why is he asking this question? You know, and we all were kind of like looking at each other like, what other question is there? So I said I would eat a shoe if it happened. Well, it slightly happened. It's not My Little Pony's Scythe. It is just My Little Scythe that has these cute animals. You're just different animals in this game. It's designed by as far as I understand, a parent and daughter who like the game, and it's not Scythe. It's just it says it's based on Scythe, and you each have these two animals. They're your seekers, and they're going out and moving them on the board. And so each turn, you pick an action. You have a board with these actions on them, and you're going to pick one of the actions. You can't pick the same action you used the previous turn. So one action is moving your people on the board, and you're going around and you're picking up gems and apples. Or you might go to a quest, and the quest will give you some options on things that you can do to finish that quest. You can roll some dice to put out resources on the board, and when you do that, if you put it, you'll roll the dice, and the dice will tell you what sections of the board to put these resources in. So usually, you're tempted to put them near yourself so you can get these resources. But if you put them in a spot where another player is, you get friendship points. Oh. So that kind of is an interesting dynamic because the whole point of this game is to get 4 trophies. And you put a trophy on the board when you do something. So if your friendship level gets up to 8, you get a trophy. If your pies, because, Suzanne, I forgot to mention there's pies in this game.
Oh my gosh, now I got it. I'm pre-ordering right now.
And when you run into another animal, you can have a pie fight. You lose a friendship if you do this. You lose a friendship if you do this, but if you win the pie fight, that's another way to get a trophy. And you can deliver 4 apples or 4 gems to the main section. And there's even a way to upgrade your actions that you take. This game has so many super advanced things that we would look for in an advanced game, but done in such a way that kids understand them. My kids easily understood this game. And I'm hesitant, it's not a kid's game per se, it's a family game. We're talking like the weight of Ticket to Ride or something. But it's easily an hour. The production is off the charts. It does feel a little bit like Scythe. And at the same time, I think it holds its own. It's in the top 10 kids game I've ever played.
Wow.
I know that they don't want to run this as a kid's game, although, frankly, it's called My Little Scythe. So it's just going to be pointed that way anyway, right?
Right.
But it's really, really well done. That's from Stonemaier
awesome
Games.
To hear.
At Stonemaier?
Yeah.
I love that.
So
I love that he ran with that. That's so cool.
It is, and the code name was Eat a Shoe, and I never even noticed. I got the emails, and I was like, I wonder what this Eat a Shoe thing is. It didn't even occur to me. We will have a couple copies at Dice Tower Con for people to play.
Oh, I would love to play that, because I'm not a huge fan of Scythe, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, maybe you like My Little Scythe, but you're saying it's not really the same, but it has similar elements? Or just
it's similar elements, yeah. In Scythe, you needed to get these stars, I think, on the board. I forget trophy stars. This has trophies, but they're a lot easier to do, and it just has that nice dynamic of, do I want to help other people out? Even the quests are like, you can do this quest by giving 3 pies to someone else, or you can steal 2 pies from them, but then you lose a friendship. Of course, my kids, once they reach the friendship goal, they're like, I guess I don't need to worry about friendship anymore. Pie fight!
Oh my gosh, I gotta get this game.
So awesome.
Floored.
Yeah, I definitely want to try this, so we're definitely playing this, Suzanne.
Deal.
Okay.
That's My Little Scythe.
Oh, well, the next game on my list was a surprise for me. So many people had talked about it, and I had never heard of it or played it. It's called Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road. So this game was designed by Gerard Hecht. The artist is Franz Vohwinkel, and the publisher is Cosmos and Grail Games. So it's a card game, yes, a deck building type game. I know what you're all saying, and shh, just wait, let me explain. So in this game, players take different spices that are coming over the Silk Road from Asia to Europe. And in the game, you have caravans that you're trying to control, and this is what you're going to take your actions from, these 3 caravans in front of you. And every time you acquire cards, you put them behind the card that's already in display. And if you want to get to it, you have to use cards from that caravan or row of cards in order to take those actions. On a turn, you have a choice of taking a caravan action, which is kind of the brown writing on the card. So you keep those cards, and then they have, I think it's a parting action, which are kind of the red portion of the card, and those cards get tossed away. So if you really like that card, and you've got 2 types of actions, as soon as you use that parting action, card's gone. And then you have the option of passing. Why would you pass? Well, maybe you're trying to get to a card in a row because that card will then go behind your caravan and push forward other cards you might be trying to use. Why are you doing all of this? Well, you're trying to complete the delivery cards, which also have points for the end of the game. Because in order to trigger the end of the game, players need to get 25 points. Triggers end of game, and then most points wins. You have a board that keeps track of all your spices, so your ginger and pepper, and these are what you need to use in order to complete these deliveries. There is an expansion called the Cut and Thrust expansion. I haven't pulled that out yet because it looks really mean, but it's supposed to make the game a little more interactive. And then, you can actually do some really mean things to your partners or other players, maybe for the next round. But I've played the base game several times, and I know deck building type games are generally not in my, there's that word, wheelhouse. But I really enjoyed Kashgar Merchants of Silk Road. I thought it was really well done. I've taught it to quite a few people, and everybody picked it up really well. It's not super interactive, not without the expansion, but I think everyone still, the groups I played with still enjoyed the mechanics of the game. Yeah.
Now, does this expansion come in the box?
Yeah, it comes with it.
I played the original Kashgar. This is the one from Grail Games. That it's a smaller box for sure. But I just haven't got around to it. But I liked it. It does feel a little bit like a deck building game, but also more like an engine building game because you can make one of your row of cards really short, and you do the same cards over and over faster, and then you'll have this really great card, and it gets stuck in a longer row, and you're like, oh man, I got to go through all these other junky cards first. There's a lot of. It's actually pretty good. I was very surprised.
Yeah, me too. It needs a mat. I find this game needs a mat because when you're when you're pushing the cards, and maybe just because I thought it was me because I just had nails, but I was playing with other people who don't, and it was just a bit of a struggle just playing on the table trying to get the cards underneath, but it was a surprise. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think we're just getting spoiled by mats these days. Like, I have a whole closet full of mats at this point. Now, if a game comes, you're like, what? No mat? Psst, what kind of company are you? Or my problem is I'll have the mat for a game and I'll go play it somewhere else. Like I just went and played Century Spice Road with some folks and they didn't have the mat. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can play this without a mat, like a bunch of backwards people.
I'm not even a mat person, but I'm sorry. With Century, you need the mat. I'm sorry, you need the mat.
No, for sure. I agree.
Sorry, that was Kashgar Merchants of the Silk Road.
Well, I've got a game that I am almost positive Tom has not tried.
Ooh.
So, fingers crossed. If you say you've played this, Tom, I'm going to yell.
Yes, that is correct. I have not played this one.
All right. Woo! So I got to play a prototype of Boomerang, and
that's why.
and I think I got to try it because apparently people recognize that I really enjoy roll and write style games. And so Boomerang is in that vein because you're writing on score sheets, but it uses card drafting as its primary mechanism to, drive the writing that you're doing. So thematically, it's about touring Australia. What a fun theme. I love that theme. And so your score sheets it has a map of Australia. The main visual presence on it is a map of Australia broken out into its regions. And then you have a deck of cards with a bunch of different icons on them and in different colors. Well, the colors match the different regions in the map, and then icons are what you're going to be scoring on. you get dealt 7 cards, you draft one, you pass it around, you draft another one, you pass it around. And what you're going to do is you're going to be drafting these cards and laying them out in front of you. And then after you've got 7 cards in front of you, then you score based on the basically icon set collection that you've managed to do. This is a Scott Almes design game, which was a little bit surprising to me. I was like,
nice.
I like Scott Almes, and this is cool. I hadn't seen this kind of game from him before, so I was excited about that. And interesting, you talked about Kashgar. This is actually Grail Games as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a total coincidence, but it's Grail Games too.
You know, people are going to start wondering about us.
No, well, it worked out that way, I know. And you're drafting the cards, and whether you if you get pairs of the animals all have different point values, so you'll score those. Or if there are different flowers, different flora icons, and they're worth a variety of points. But for the flora icons, you play 5 rounds, and it's similar to a game like Avenue where you have to exceed your previous flower value to score anything.
Wow.
So if I score 10 points the first round in flowers, but 7 points my second round of flowers, I get 0. You got to always grow. So I like that element and things like that. And then each of the cards has a letter that matches the map, so you're checking off all the different locations you go. Because again, thematically, you're touring Australia. You're trying to go to as many places as you can. And there's some bonus points for finishing regions first and things like that. There's also this neat little element where the first card you draft is your Boomerang throw card. And you got your hand of cards, you pick one, you put it face down. And then you go around and you're drafting, everything else goes face down.
I know, I was waiting for someone to say
I'm so sorry.
I'm so glad
you can throw it, but then people might see it, and that would be bad. But feel free to throw it.
I'm very disappointed.
I'm with you, Tom.
Tell. And all the cards have different values on them. And then the last card you get, which is just handed to you by the person to your right or whatever, is your catch card. And you score your Boomerang card if your catch card is equal or higher to the value of your throw. And that's actually, especially in a 3-player game, it's super compelling. It really got everybody thinking really hard about that first card. And it's especially interesting in a 3-player game because you are dealt all the cards and your catch card is in your hand that you're dealt. So you're looking at these cards going, oh, I've got a bunch of high value cards, so maybe I can push my luck and keep draft a higher value card first. Or, you can always draft a 1 and be guaranteed to catch it, but you're only going to get 1 point for it. So there's a little push your luck element there that was super fun. It's super fast, 7 cards, 5 rounds. It was really, really enjoyable. All of us were pleasantly surprised by Boomerang, this little drafting card-based roll and write game. I definitely had a lot of fun with it from Grail Games. And I actually think it's a Kickstarter. And I think it's on Kickstarter probably when this airs. So if people are interested, it's a game that they should. I definitely recommend people check it out if you like that type of game.
As you're talking, I'm looking for it on Kickstarter.
Here's my concern. I feel, and I know Suzanne will probably disagree with this, but I feel like we might have too many roll and write games at this point in time. So when these new roll and write games come out, they have to differentiate themselves from other ones.
Sure,
like I just played
as they should.
I just played a trio of roll and write games from starring an explorer person. I can't remember what they're called. They're from
Penny Papers.
Penny Papers, right?
Yeah, I haven't played that yet. Yeah, I want to play that.
Yeah, and all 3 of them are mediocre at best.
Oh,
and in fact, one of them I hate it.
Ooh,
which one? Which one?
Because the one I hated was the most complicated one because I should have liked it, but the snakes totally ruined it for me.
Oh, yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
And the problem with each of these 3 games was I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I know another roll and write that does it better. And I think that's kind of where we're at this point in time. So if you're going to enter this, and I'm not saying people should stop making these games because that would make Suzanne reach through the screen and punch me.
Yeah, please don't stop.
But I think that they need to be different. Don't just jump on a trend because it exists. And I'm not even saying that's what Boomerang is doing. It probably isn't. Sorry.
No, I think that's a really good point. And in fact, I think that is a point of differentiation for Boomerang. I mean, I have played a lot of roll and write games, and I haven't played one that uses card drafting. So
then good.
This is something new. So I absolutely agree with you, Tom. I appreciate that comment. I think Boomerang does do something a little bit different, so that's cool. There you go.
All right, let's jump into my next one. Another kids game. Well, this one is definitely a kids game. Magic Maze Kids. Now, you've all played Magic Maze.
I'm so jealous you got to play this. Ah.
Well, I don't know. I got lucky, I guess.
Okay.
You all have played Magic Maze, right, at this point?
Oh, yes. Yeah, love it.
All right, so this is very close to being the same thing. In this one, but it's a little bit more randomized. You have one big board, and you have 4 creatures on that board. They are the prince, the princess, the knight, and the wizard. And the king has turned into a frog. This king is kind of an idiot because every game he has once again turned into a frog. But so on top of this king, you will put 3 cards, and these cards, depending on how hard you're making the scenario, will be from a different deck. And you will have to get these different people to different spots in the board, or you have to make 2 of them meet each other. That's the way it works. So it's very much like Magic Maze. Each person, if you're playing a 4-player game, moves in a different direction. And you can move any of the pieces, and they even have a couple other pieces on the board of animals that get in your way, and you have to move them out of your way, but they can only stay in like there might be a dragon, a red dragon. That red dragon you can move, but he can only go on spaces that are red. So you can only move him a little bit to get him out of the way. And each of the 4 people also has their own special ability, like the princess can jump across a river. The knight can jump over, and I forget exactly which one has which special ability, but they all have a special ability. And the game has an amazing tutorial system. It even comes with boards that say, okay, we're all going to move the prince from this spot to the other spot. Everyone do it together. You did it? Great. All right, now the next section of the board, we're going to do this. And it teaches one new rule. And we were able to go in the course of an hour or more through all the way up to the full game, which adds a timer, which suddenly made it different. And it does not have the lack of communication that Magic Maze does. That's a alternate rule in the book, which is good because I don't think kids would be able to handle that. There was already enough yelling at each other as it was. Move that creature! And I could not get my kids, at least for me, my kids, I wasn't able to get them to concentrate on let's move everyone at the same time. They're like, let's do the prince and get him to where he needs to go. All right, now let's do the princess. Now let's do the knight. And that's good, but I think that we could have done it faster had we, worked on them. But I really like it. It's different enough for Magic Maze. It's definitely for kids, though. I think a bunch of adults would just roll right through it. But it has great components. It's a much bigger box. I love Magic Maze, but it's been a good week for my kids between this and the Scythe game and some other stuff. Yeah, it was just really fun.
So, Tom, do you feel like Magic Maze Kids is different enough either thematically or mechanically? Like, what if I just took Magic Maze out and with my kids and just let them talk during it? Is that does it offer more beyond that?
I think I like it better because they're going to like the thematic nature of it, right? It's fun to be the prince and the princess and the different animals. That's a fun theme for them. The whole stealing is funny to me from a mall. Let's clarify to those listening. I'm talking about a fantasy mall in the past. I don't mean you should steal from malls. That's a horrible thing to do. But I get that. But you're also turning over tiles and slowly building the board. And in this one, the board's already set, and so it's kind of like a cooperative puzzle. And they have this randomized what you need to do each turn. I don't know. I just felt like it worked better for kids. I don't know that I would even try Magic Maze with my kids, but I never thought about doing it with letting them talk. I still think this one's better because the escalators and the person who turns over new tiles and things like that, I think that might be a little bit more confusing than this one was. It depends how old the kids are. If they were older if they were in upper elementary, 4th, 5th, 6th, I'd play Magic Maze with them. Younger than that, even 4th and 5th, though, I might play this one with sometimes.
All right. Cool. That's great to know.
That's Magic Maze Kids.
Well, that one sounds awesome, Tom. I mean, I'm a Magic Maze fan anyway, so thanks. I've got a 6 and a 9-year-old, so I think I'm going to have to pick that one up. All right, I know everybody loves hearing about games played, but I know everybody's excited to hear about all the good stuff that we're going to be seeing at Origins. So let's not drag that out anymore. Let's get to it. Origins!
Woo! I'm already there. Woo!
All right, almost managed to trick Mandy into doing a top 10, but couldn't quite get there. I tried. But I think we're going to talk about 10 games we're interested in. And Tom, what are you going to do? Come on, you got to get in the mix here, right?
I'm going to talk about one game I'm interested in, and then I have nine tips for people going to Origins for the first time.
Oh, I love it. Well, then that's for me. I appreciate that. So, Mandy, I know that we both kind of picked out 10 games that we're interested in. Not a top 10.
Thank you.
Not a top 10.
Thank you.
Top 10s are part of the Dice Tower and are exclusive only to be used on the Tom and Eric show. Thank you.
Yes, I will not succumb.
But we do have a few overlapping games, too. And through the completely random listing, Mandy.
Okay, listen, mine's random. I don't know about your list. Okay.
I tried.
Number 10.
What's the first one on both of our lists that just happened to overlap?
Century Eastern Wonders. I'm so excited. How about you want to do this one? You talk about it. I can tell the excitement you want to talk about.
Not at all. No, please.
Okay, fine.
I'm excited because it's an Emerson game and it's Plan B. And those two things together are magic.
I love Emerson, so yes, absolutely this is one that had to be on the list. So, has a bit of grid movement, modular board. It's Century Eastern Wonders. I don't know too much. I've seen it. I know it's going to be part of that trilogy that already exists. Exactly, with the Century, Spice Road, and so forth. And I guess the role in this one, I guess you're still merchants, but you're looking at the exotic Indonesian islands. I guess that's the kind of atmosphere they're trying to set. And I believe you can combine it with Spice Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Tom, you've played it, so give us...
Yeah, because I feel like I don't have everything here.
So first of all, this is one of the few games we're going to be talking about that's actually available for sale there. And last year, Century Spice Road sold out at Origins, so I would not fool around going to get Century Eastern Wonders. This is a sequel to the first one. It is essentially the same game in many ways, where you're changing cubes in for other cubes and things like that. But this time, instead of you taking cards into your hand, there's spaces on the board, and you have to go make a trading post on that space before you can use that to change one red cube to two yellows and a green or whatever they are. And it's a trickier game. It's a heavier game, I would say. I've played it, I don't know, about 10 times now. I really like it.
Wow.
I like the mix between the two. I think I like the new game and the mix about equal, but I think I like the original game the best, if only because it plays a little bit faster. But I think if you like the first one, you'll like the second, probably.
Thanks for being definitive on that one.
Well, no, because Century Eastern Wonders is really easy to teach like anybody. Like I could be like, hey, Grandpa, play this game with me, and he probably can get it. I don't know that I would do that with everyone for Century Eastern Wonders.
Okay. Would you do like...
Fair enough.
Okay. This one has water or something in it?
Wow,
is that the modular part?
Yeah, just you're making a board. You're just putting together some tiles to make a board like Catan.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Well, I guess, Mandy, you and I are going to have to rush. We'll just say, Tom, we're out of here, and we'll run over to Plan B's.
Wait, now, do we need a mat? Or is this...
I can't imagine you
working?
guys running out to get any games, because I've never seen you at Essen doing that thing.
God. Lessons learned,
hey,
okay?
Those two and Eric were like, when does the shopping begin? I was like, hang on.
Yeah, lessons learned there. Let's just say that.
All righty. All right, Tom, you have a game, right, that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, this is the one game. Well, because this is the next Dice Tower Essential game.
Oh.
And this one's also going to be for sale there. Critical Mass. It's a 2-player mech versus mech game. It's a card game. So, like, I have my mech fighting your mech, and we each going to play a card on our turn, reveal those cards, and things will happen. So it's kind of like a advanced war to some degree. So if I shoot you and your weapon, my weapon might be faster but does less damage. I might be upgrading, and then I get to add a new card to my hand. Every time you play a card, that card is laid down on the table until you play a card that lets you pick all your cards up again. And you also have cards like dodge and attack. So when do you play your cards? And each of the mechs is also very different. I really like this one. There's 2 different sets. Each comes with 2 mechs, and you can mix and match them. So this is actually not being released till July, but there will be copies for sale at Origins.
Oh, wow.
So obviously I'm a fan of this one.
Did you ever play a game called Hawken?
Yes. That was a game from a company who I normally don't like their games.
Jeez.
Well, I just remember playing Hawken a few years
That's
ago.
Cryptozoic, right? Cryptozoic, right?
And it was like mech battle and card-based battle, and so that's just it was vaguely reminiscent of that for me. And I liked Hawken, so I liked those mech battles games. That's cool.
Yeah, I like this one better than Hawken because Hawken is more based on real, like, actual speed and things. This one has a lot more strategy to it. I actually found this one at Origins 3 years ago, and I'm glad it's finally coming out. I really think it has the opportunity to be a big 1-versus-1 style game. I think people will really like it.
Ooh, I'm excited to try
me
it.
too.
All right.
I hadn't heard of it.
You're gonna teach it if Mandy and I are hanging out. You're gonna teach us how to play.
Sure, I am the game teacher.
There we go.
Really, I do like teaching games.
I'm totally holding you to it, so it's all good.
We'll have to try it. Absolutely.
All right, Mandy, what's up next on your not to top 10 list?
Yeah. Stop it.
Number 9.
Dice Settlers, and this is published by NSKN Games. It's an area control kind of a deck building type game. I believe this was on Kickstarter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Suzanne.
Yeah, NSKN. Yep,
Oh, you know what? I actually think I backed
It was on
It was?
Kickstarter.
Okay, I actually think I backed it. Wow, I backed too many games. I think I did.
Wait, you don't know if you backed it or
I
not?
backed so many games, I forget, and then they show up at my house. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Oops. But it must be good. So I know it had dice, which I do enjoy my dice in a game, and it's all about gathering resources, has some area control. So I mean, all the elements in a game that I like, and I believe it's one where you kind of have to reach in the bag, roll some dice, and then choose your actions with your dice. I feel like it's reminding me of a Rajas of the Ganges type feel to it.
Ooh.
But it has like resources and trading, developing technologies, abilities, and it allows players to kind of choose a different path toward winning the game. So that's as far as I get with rules when I back things, and that looked good enough for me. So that's Dice Settlers.
Actually, this one, they explained it to me at Essen, and it sounds really
Okay.
good. I also tend to usually like NSKN stuff, so I have high hopes for this one.
Yeah, it's definitely on my interest list too.
I do not think this one's available there, though. I think they're just showing it.
Yeah.
Because
I think I remember, well, from what I remember, I probably backed it a few months ago. Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah. Well, next on my list, Merlin. Now, I know Merlin's been out in Europe, etc. It had a Kickstarter in the U.S., and darn it, I didn't back it. And then I played it, and then I was kicking myself afterwards for not. I loved Merlin. It's just the perfect weight of Stefan Feld game for me. Like the movement around the board. I was as soon as I played it, I'm like, oh, why did I not back this? So I heard that they're going to have a limited number of copies at Origins, so I will be dashing to the Queen booth and trying to finally get a copy of Merlin.
Is this the one I taught with you at Dice Tower Cruise?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, can I jump? Yeah, can I jump in for a minute here? So I compared Merlin, because everyone knows I love Stefan Feld, and I said, it was one of those things, we went out on a date, and it was like, I think we should stay friends kind of deal. Well, Merlin's looking kind of good, and so I had to ring him up and, hey, want to hang out again? I'm really enjoying it. So we're dating now.
Well, I'm going to be getting a copy of Merlin. I really want to. I'm hoping they won't sell it before I can manage to go get a copy, because I'm excited to get a copy finally.
Yeah.
Also, congratulations,
Thank
Mandy.
you. I'm so happy.
All right, Tom. What you got some tips for us? Bring it.
Yeah, okay, well, this tip is self-serving, but come to the Dice Tower show. We really would like you to be there. If you've never been to our Origin shows, they're usually very laid back. People sit at tables at them. We'll do a normal show where we'll talk about stuff at the convention, and then halfway through we do a game show where you may get called up to the wonderful game of Z versus something. You have to come and find out what Z is versus this time. I believe the last time we played this game, it was versus a vomit bag from an airplane.
Yes.
That was great.
Very poor Z. Yeah.
No, not poor Z. Actually, because this time, I'm not sure what we're going to do, because there, I believe, are only 30 Zs left, period.
Oh, my gosh.
So they've suddenly become valuable.
Dun, dun, dun. The
Anyway,
stakes
so that's
just got higher.
8 or 8:30 on Saturday night. Come out and join us.
Oh, looking forward to
Please do.
that.
That'll be fun. I'm so
Me
excited
too.
for that.
Oh, boy.
Back to games, Mandy. What's on your next not top 10?
Number 8.
You know, I like the horror-ish feeling, the dark kind of atmosphere, and I feel this game is taking me there. Dark Domains. I had actually not heard about it until I went on the list and read about it, and it's a worker placement fantasy type game, and it's published by Laboratory H. And from what I gather, it's you're, I guess, exploring lands and trying to beat this secret evil. And in the game, I like the fact that it has a higher player count. I think it's 2 to 5. Your attempt to create a domain that provides evil. And apparently they use skulls. Oh, so excited to depict this. I'm sorry. I know these little things appeal to me. I like this, the dark part of it. You use minions, henchmen, monsters, and magic to kind of get rid of that good. And they talk about something about repelling the Tauren Company and covering their land in darkness. And I'm quoting that exactly because I'm not 100% sure what that means, but it sounds dark and evil, so I like it. Apparently, tarot cards are used as events in each turn, and it regulates the phases of the game. So that's as much as I know. Like I said, I've never seen it, I've never played it, but it really touched on some points for me. And yes, I know, people don't know this about me. I like dark games. So, Dark Domains.
I would write this one off in a second based on your description.
What?
But I do see that the Horgers are the designers, and they've done some really good stuff.
Oh, wait a minute. Now you have my interest. Jeff and Carla Horger?
Well, okay, I didn't say the designers. I didn't know if we were going to go that detailed, but yes.
Alrighty. Now you got my interest.
You didn't like the whole...
See, right, that's a little bit more interesting now. And it's really hard for me to get this stuff, because if you ever meet Jeff and Carla, they're like super nice. And apparently, though, they made a game about being not.
I love it.
There you go.
I love how the different things appeal. You all are about this person designed it, and I'm like, it's dark and evil. I love it.
Well, next on my list, I've got Remnant. And Remnant just kind of, it's a it kind of has like this dystopian setting, futuristic setting, and it's a pool building game. And I typically really like pool building games in general. And there's some kind of real-time element to it. And you're rolling dice somehow to get what you need to build up your pool. And I think that sounds like fun. I know real-time can really turn off a lot of people, and I totally understand that. But it's actually something in games I typically enjoy. So as I actually was more interested in it when I was reading up a little bit on it, and I saw, okay, you've got this pool building thing going on, and then you've got some real-time elements. So I thought that looked like fun. So I'm definitely wanting to check out Remnant. I think that this is one that they are selling at Origins, so I might be able to actually pick up a copy there, which I'm excited about.
So you had me till real time.
Well,
yeah.
Well, considering that I've seen it sold at other conventions prior to. I feel pretty confident. I think it might even be out in stores at this point.
Well,
I'm not sure.
Oh wow, okay.
No. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying that I think that's possible.
All right, cool. All right, Tom. What's next on your hot tips?
Well, there's a lot of places to go play games at Origins, and one of the places to go to is basically playing you want to play Werewolf, right? That's like a convention style thing. I know a lot of people go and play Werewolf and games that are similar to Werewolf. 2 Rooms and a Boom is starting to be one that more and more people are playing. So there's actually a place at Origins called the Deception Games Room.
Oh.
So you can go there and just play all these sorts of games. I mention this because I've gone up there and played a few myself in past years, like just 2 Rooms and a Boom, or Are You a Werewolf, or they got Secret Hitler and things like that if you want to go play these games. And there's one called Latitude 90, The Origin, and I'm tired of talking about that, so I don't know what it does. But it's something. But, I like this that they have it in this spot, because I don't know if you guys ever noticed that people tend to play Werewolf anywhere at a convention.
I did.
You'll see, if you don't know anything about gaming, it could throw you off. You walk in, you see a circle of people, and like one guy's like, everyone close your eyes. And they all put their heads down. You're like, what's going on? I knew board games were demonic. No, just Werewolf, right? So now you have a room for that sort of thing. I think just so you can find other players. So that's called the Deception Games Room.
This sounds rather interesting. And yes, new gamers might be worried. So there you go. I think you've alleviated some fears potentially.
And definitely people who play Werewolf at conventions and these massive games, they love it. They get into it. And I'm happy for them that they have that at conventions to do.
Agreed.
Number
All right,
7.
All right, Mandy, you're sticking in thematic territory here. What's
Darn
up?
right. I love my dark games, and I'm going to continue along that path. Legends of Sleepy Hollow. And this is published by Greater Than Games, or Dice Hate Me Games. And it's cooperative. Where was this game when I was doing my top 10 with Eric? And again, adventure fantasy type game.
We're not. I don't think we should be talking about cooperative games.
Why?
Right? I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to redo that top 10. This is all I'm saying.
Did you not hear the beginning? I do not play that many cooperative games. I thought my choices were quite good. Apparently not.
Sure.
Those be fighting words.
Fire!
That's it. We're all of us.
Awkward.
We're doing it again. All of us.
All right,
Okay.
Legends of Sleepy Hollow, Mandy. That sounds so interesting. Tell me more.
So in Legends of Sleepy Hollow, players use an action pool, which allows you to move, investigate, to get to interact with your environment, or unleash powerful attacks, and they're unique to each character. I think once you have selected these things, then these abilities are unavailable until your character's pool has been emptied. And I think it just gets increasingly more difficult as the character gains fear in the game. So obviously it's cooperative. You want to work together to overcome the fear, unravel the mysteries, and become the true legends of Sleepy Hollow. Come on, now that sounds pretty fantastic.
Sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, it really does.
Hey,
Actually,
see, you got a good one. I don't know. I feel Tom's like not impressed.
all right though. Well, no. I think that was fine. I'm just actually, I want to preempt Suzanne because Did you make a typo on your next choice, Suzanne?
Did I make a typo?
No.
What are you accusing me of?
Did you see the box cover for the next game you're talking about?
Yes, I did. It's
Okay, just clarifying.
fair enough. But did you see who did the art on this game?
I don't really care.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Is it upsetting? Are you gonna be okay?
Apparently not.
I can't look at this cover.
He's like covering this. All right. Next up on my list is Gorus Maximus, and yes, the cover displays a fairly brutal scene. Because thematically, it's
It's not fairly brutal, just to clarify. It looks like it came from Spartacus, the TV
Which
series.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed. Great show.
yeah. Thematically it's gladiatorial in nature, right? You're in the Colosseum and it's gladiatorial battles, and it's fairly gory. You know, there's some splurting of things. But the artist is Quan Chai Mori.
I love Quan Chai.
And Quan Chai is so good. And I mean, when you look at the cards, the other cards are fairly... I mean, Gorus Maximus, they live up to the name of the game. That is for sure.
They do. I just want to say I'm playing it too. Like, I'm playing Gorus Maximus.
Gorus Maximus.
So aggressive.
I'm giving her a hard time. I'm sure I'll play it too. But I actually was surprised a bit at how blatantly they were not hiding the person getting dismembered on the front cover.
No, it is. And I think that's a really...
It's cartoony, just as a heads up too. That's not that bad, I guess.
No, it is fairly cartoony, and it's very high quality art because it's Quan Chai Mori, but it's a good call out. It's thematic, and this is published by Inside Up Games. And honestly, I actually, like, when I was scanning, I didn't go into it. But then when I was rescanning, I'm like, all right, I'll go take a deeper look. And then I realized that this is a trick-taking game.
Ooh.
And then you had me. Because I love trick-taking games.
Me too.
So this is trick-taking games. You can play in teams, or you can play player versus player. And it has a little twist where the trump can change. If you play a card that matches one that was previously played, the trump will change. And I I just love trick-taking games in general. I love trick-taking games with little twists. Fox in the Forest, that 2-player trick-taking games is so excellent. You can change the trump suit in that game mid-round, and I love that mechanism. So as soon as I started reading about Gorus Maximus, realized it had those elements to it, I was interested in it. Definitely thematically violent, definitely has some gory, cartoonish, but gory art. But definitely on my list of interest at Origins.
All right. We'll probably be on our next live 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Origins Awards. A series of awards that we used to make fun of because they were so not in touch with reality. They are in touch with reality this year. They have some very good games nominated. And you can go to the Origins Awards. They're directly before our show. It's in the same room. And the last couple years, they've given free games to everyone who showed up for those. Although, I'm not saying they will. I have no idea if they will or not. I'm just saying what they did the last 2 years. But you can also go to a section in the exhibit hall where you can go play all the games that were nominated and then vote on them if you want to. They give out 2 awards, one from the judges and one from the People's Choice. And since all the games nominated are pretty good games, if you want to play, Gloomhaven, or I don't know how many people are going to be going to play Gloomhaven, but a lot of these really good games are there, and you can go check them out and play them, and that's a free thing to do. So I decided to tell people about that. It's in the exhibit hall.
Cool.
Yeah, should check that out myself. All right, so the next one I'm going to talk about is
Number 6.
an expansion, Whistle Stop Rocky Mountains expansion.
I'm super. Are they selling? Do you know, Mandy? Are they selling this there? Because I'm super excited.
I feel like they are, but I haven't seen anything on it. I don't know if Tom would know this, but
I didn't see it on the lists, but I will check while you talk about it.
Sounds good. So I'm just quickly going to talk about the expansion here, but it expands the base game Whistle Stop, and it's supposed to be adding a 3D mountain range to the game. And apparently the mountains provide barriers for people in the game, and then obviously we're going to get better rewards for crossing them. The expansion contains, I have it here, 5 new end tiles, new special tiles, additional train route tiles, variable common resource tiles, new town tiles, gold nugget tokens, 4 new whistle stop tiles, new gold nugget tiles, new upgrades, 9 new upgrades, and 6 new shares. So I think it's adding quite a bit to the game. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to it. I actually very much enjoy Whistle Stop. So I think if it's going to add a bit more complexity and more rewards, I think it's going to be really good.
Cool. Tom, did you find out?
It's not on their official release thing, and so I'm going to guess that maybe not. I will say that I will never play Whistle Stop without this expansion. I think it adds enough good options to the game. It makes gold nuggets a really cool thing, and it's harder to get over these mountains, but the rewards are worth it. So I think it's really fun.
Oh, I want it. Jeez.
Oh, I'm just going by what other people told me. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's bad.
Way to rub it in.
All right. Next up, I wanted to talk about Caper. I got to play a demo of this at Gamma, and I love it. It's a little 2-player game. I believe it's actually published in South America originally, and then Keymaster Games picked it up and put all new art on it. It looks fabulous. It kind of has this retro 50s vibe to it with really cool graphic design and stuff like that. It's a 2-player area majority thing where you have these different locations, 3 different locations, and you're playing thief cards, and then you're equipping the thieves to try to take control of that area. And there's different icons and different kind of, I guess, set collection in a way where you're fighting from majority back and forth, kind of like a lane battling style area majority thing. There's other scoring elements though with set collection and iconography and stuff like that. And in my one quick play of it at Gamma, I just really enjoyed it. I thought the art really enhanced it. The locations, there's a bunch of different locations, and you only play with 3, so that mixes it up every game. And I think it just looks like a really polished 2-player package. So that is definitely one I'm looking forward to. And I think they have some copies for sale at Keymaster's booth for Caper.
Okay. It's one I saw. I think you had mentioned to me before, and it sounded really interesting. So I'm definitely going to have to at least play it while I'm there.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're like there's like no information about this on the internet practically.
On Caper?
Yeah, you can see the cover, and like 2 people have rated it. It's very, very little information.
Oh, that's interesting. No, yeah, I got to play it and talk to the Keymaster guys, and I really enjoyed it for a 2-player game like that. So
you know what? Let's maybe we'll cover it a little bit more in our vlog, because myself, and Eric are going to be doing a lot of vlog stuff there. So
sounds good.
All right, so you can. One of the things you can do at Origins is when you get your badge, you can buy, like tickets to go to do different events, but you can also buy ribbons. And these ribbons allow you to go to different sections. Okay, so there are 7 different ribbons. There is the upper deck, where you can go to an upper deck area. That doesn't seem like it's worth doing unless you really like playing Legendary. Because it costs $20. So I don't know if I would do that. I like upper deck games, but I don't think I like them that much.
And that's $20 US, right? I gotta specify,
yes.
That's like $30 Canadian.
The convention's in America. Why would we keep taking Canadian dollars? I'm sorry, I'll say prices in dollars, Canadian dollars, pounds, yen, won. Okay. Then you can also get an amped guard ticket, and that's the people who hit each other with foam swords.
Oh.
So you can do that as much as you want for $20.
Okay.
Then the one that most people are interested in is the boardroom. The CABS, the Columbus Area Board Game Society. It's a club there that has over 150 people come every week to get together to play games. It's very
cool.
A little jealous of that sometimes. And they have a huge library that they bring in, and it's in a roped off area in very close to where we are, that you go play board games. If you don't know what else to do, get this ribbon and go there and play board games. Then there's an electronic game room ticket if you want to go play video games in an electronic game room.
Oh, interesting.
Origins After Dark. This sounds like Mandy. You said you like dark stuff.
I do. It's right up my alley.
But this starts at 6 o'clock each evening, and it's 18 plus, and it's in the Barley's Brewing Company. I have no idea what happens there. I've never been to it, so I'm sorry I can't give more information. Then there's the Werewolf Deception one. That's $10. That lets you go to that Deception room I told you about. I don't remember having a ribbon for that. I thought you could go for free last year, but
maybe they changed it up.
And then this one they've had there ever since I've gone, the Puffing Billy ribbon.
Oh.
This is, you can play in all the Puffing Billy train game events. Puffing Billy is a club that's been at Origins ever since I've been going. They get together and they play train games. Ooh. But here's the thing. They're not very, it is what it is. If it's a train game, it's legit. Yeah, there's a lot of people playing 18XX and the Cran Rail games, but Ticket to Ride, a trick-taking game, Mogul or something like that, that's with trains, that's okay. No one has ever been able to explain this to me. If you said it's where we get together to play 18XX games and Cran Rail games, I'm like, oh, okay. I know that's a genre people like, of that kind of game. But then when you're playing these really light, silly, games or Ticket to Ride, I'm like, so you're literally limiting yourself to a theme.
I guess
cool. That's okay.
Yeah.
It ain't $20 cool.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I can go to the boardroom and play all genres. Or I can go to Puffing Billy and play only train games. I'm like, guys, this game's about automobiles. Get out. I'm sorry.
I'm intimidated.
I don't know. They're actually very nice people. I'm not mocking Puffing Billy fans. I'm just bemused, I guess. I just find it interesting because they're the only group that does it. There's not a zombie group. There's not a fantasy role-playing group. It's just Puffing Billy. And some of them even wear train hats and stuff.
See, that right there sells it. I love it.
Well, yes, the hat thing is good. All right, anyway, so get a ribbon if you want to, but that just tells you what they are. And it lets you get into the area. So if you're not sure, get the boardroom ribbon.
Okay. Some good tips on that one.
Well, Mandy and I had some more overlap on our list. We have 2 more overlaps, and this is one of them.
Number 5.
And it's a game I've actually... I feel like I maybe cheated a little bit by putting it on my list, but I don't care. And it is, Mandy, what...
It's Welcome To. And I know we've spoken about it often, but
I've actually reviewed it on the podcast.
You have. I don't own it. So it's published by Deepwater Games. I'll let Suzanne take it away, actually, because she knows more about it than I do.
Am I the only person bugged by the name?
Welcome to ...
Yeah, it's like, welcome to what?
Well, that's... I get where you're coming from. But you get to name your town.
Yeah.
So it's welcome to whatever. So I have welcome to Pieville.
Of course you do.
Or welcome to French Fry Central. And it works so well. It just really personalizes the whole experience. But Welcome to is a roll and write style game. It's card driven, though. It is one of the best in the genre, in my opinion. It was originally published by Blue Cocker over in Europe, and then Deepwater Games kindly brought it over to bring it to a larger audience, and I'm so glad they did. It plays a little like a game called Quinto, which is a really great little
Love
one, right? Where
Quinto.
You see, where you have kind of these lanes, and you have a lot of flexibility in writing numbers anywhere you want, but they just have to always ascend from left to right. But then you have all this other stuff around it. Maybe you're working to mark off park areas, or maybe you're trying to segment things into little suburbs and draw fences through them. And the card play is so clever here because the cards have a number on it, and then there is a action, whether it's a park action or a fence action or things like that. And 3 pairs come up randomly, and you get to pick one of those pairs and take that action and write that number and move on. But a neat little twist is the next action that comes up, it's hinted at on the back of this number card. So when you flip it over, you can predict what you're going to have next turn, which adds a nice little strategic planning element to the game that notches it up a level. So... And it's got a beautiful score sheet. It's kind of got that 50s vibe to it overall from an art perspective that Mandy,
that's what caught my eye at first.
Yeah. It's one of the, and I've played a lot of this genre or this niche of game, and without a doubt, Welcome to top 3 in this niche for me with no question. So
yeah, I need to have it.
I'm just excited that more people will get to play it, and I think they'll have it for sale.
It's
heard
limited.
That they sold out of their pre-orders.
Yeah, pre-orders are closed. And
Okay.
from what I've been told, they only have a certain amount of copies per day. I think it's like 25 or something per day. And
Yikes.
yeah, and if people don't pick up their pre-orders, I think they're selling them on the Sunday. Or something to that effect. But then I think if you don't get it at Origins, you can pre-order for Gen Con. Yeah. So there you go. Welcome to
Vassal Town. All right. Has to have it. You can't end it in a preposition. All right, anyway. Another thing you can do at Origins is see the sights. Now, I know you want to go and play games and you want to go buy games, but there's other things to go see. I always like to go around and just find things. You're never sure what you might see. Like the people hitting each other with foam swords. I get a real kick out of that, especially when there's kids involved, because you'll watch like a guy who does it all the time try not to hit the kid and let the kid hit them, and it's really fun. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not making fun of this at all. Actually, I just get a kick out of seeing kids having the time of their life doing this. That's always a big kick. I enjoy that. And then miniatures. I don't play many miniature games, but to go see these amazing setups.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Of Star Wars and Gandalf and the Minas Tirith and all sorts of really cool things. Just if you never know what you might see wandering around. You might see people playing some really weird and strange game that might be funny that you can even jump in on. Maybe you never know. Just walk all over the halls, especially at night. It's one of those cons that never sleeps, so there's always things going on, and you can find some pretty funny stuff. I was saying how we always play the game when I walk to our booth every morning, and I walk through the RPG section, and I see the people, and my question is, getting up or going to bed? When I see the people, and I'm trying to guess which one they are. Is that someone who just got up, or is that someone who's been up all night?
And it's probably 50-50, right? 50-50 shot on which one it is.
I'm just guessing. I don't dare ask them. Excuse me, sir. We're playing a game.
You should ask him this time.
I'm curious.
I want to know.
I don't think they'd mind.
There's also a paint and take section where you can go paint a miniature. They got free miniatures. You paint it and you take it home with you.
That's so cool.
It's if you just want to go play, paint something. So stuff like that. That's don't just be caught up in hey board games. Go see things that are things you can only do at a convention.
I think we should do that, Suzanne. Paint a mini. I mean, I used to paint them many moons ago. I still have my airbrush kit, but I think we should go and paint.
Oh, that's right. I said it is on my live thing. I have to say it here too. If you paint a miniature, it's kitty corner to our Dice Tower booth.
Oh, that's
and you
rad.
bring it by, I will rate it from 1 to 10. 1 is Tom Vassell. Tom Vassell painted it, and 10 is the crystal brush amazement thing. So we'll give them an official Dice Tower rating.
Oh, that is fantastic!
I cannot wait. That's going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
4.
So the next game that I have on my list is from one of my favorite designers, Vital Lacerda. It's Escape Plan. It's published by Eagle Griffin Games. I don't know much about the game. I know it's a cops and robbers type game, and so, adventure-like.
This doesn't look like his kind of game, this theme.
You say it does look like a kid's game?
No. It said it doesn't look like his kind of game.
Right, it's thematically really different.
It is.
which I think is so
100%.
cool.
Like, I mean, if you look at the Gallerist in Lisboa, you're 100% right. It's totally on the other end of the spectrum. But I think that's why I really want to try it, because I like the way his mind works. So I'm curious to see it applied to a different type of game. So
That's awesome.
have you
Really
played this one, Tom? I don't know a ton about it. I just know it's a
No, I have not.
I know it's like a cops and robbers type thing. I think there's a modular board in the game, and you're trying to get the loot and then escape from the city, and then obviously the cops are trying to prevent them from escaping. That's as far as I got, and I think it's a card type game. You're playing cards to get to help with your escape, and I think you're trying to slow other people down. So I think in the end, basically, I think it's the only player that escapes, so the one player that escapes with the most money wins, as far as I remember.
Cool.
Sounds interesting. Yeah.
Looks good.
All right, next up, it had to be on my list, and I'm realizing that I've got a lot. This is my second Emerson Matsuuchi game, but it had to go on my list. Reef from Next Move Games, formerly Plan B Games. I have to admit, I'm still a little confused on why they imprinted, but oh well.
It's the cool thing to do now. I asked the companies why they do it, and basically they're saying that when they want people, when they hear a name, to know what kind of game it is. So it's still Plan B, whatever, just called Next Move.
Fair enough. So it's Next Move Games, Reef, designed by Emerson Matsuuchi. You're taking on the role of the reef, the coral reef, and you're trying to expand and grow. And there's some hand management. It's a card game where you hand management and patterns, and it looks abstract and fascinating to me. It looks also in line with Next Move, Azul, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So between the publisher, the designer, and the aesthetics, I'm all in. I'm so excited for Reef. And Tom, I know you've played it because you did a video on it.
Reef is amazing.
Stop! Don't tease me.
It's better than Azul,
Really?
and I think I like it better than Century Spice Ribbon.
Oh,
That's big. No, that's big.
Now, realize it's a light game. It's
Yeah.
light, okay? So it's not a super heavy game, but I just like the card combos in it. I really like them.
All right.
Reef is
Adding
super great.
that to the list. Okay, there we go.
All right, my next tip. Don't be afraid to ask people to play games. Please. I know it's easier for some of us to just walk up and jump in a game. It doesn't bother me at all, but I know that for a lot of folks, they're introverts, and it's a hard thing. But I'm saying work up your courage, especially if you're in the boardroom. They have these little cones there for people looking for games, so that's easier. But if you're up, if you see a publisher about the demo, you don't have to do any work. Just kind of stand there, and they'll be like, "Do you want to play this game?" And then say yes. Don't be worried to ask people to play games. Don't worry to ask us to play games. Now listen, we'll probably say no. I don't know if we'll say no or not. Because no, I'm just saying, well, if a lot of people ask us, but there's a chance. You come by the Dice Tower booth at night, if I'm there, you might get in a game with me. I don't know what kind of game it is. It's probably a game I never played before, and there's a good chance it'll be bad. But it will be a fun experience. And, don't be – I always get worried when I see, like, two people, they go to a convention together, and then they play two-player games the whole time. And I'm thinking, you could have stayed home, right? And I know it's hard to break out of that shell, but do it. You might meet some friends that you'll come back next year and play games with.
For sure.
Absolutely. I know I have a few people who are going to say, drop by the booth, if later on, if I'm not busy. I'm definitely looking forward to my potential Mice and Mystics game. I've never played it. So I have a young listener who has offered to teach it to me.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so anybody wants to join in, there you go.
Speaking of Mandy, I almost put on my list, don't lose your voice.
no hope.
I know, right? It seems to be a thing. And actually, funny enough, Emerson Matsuuchi is usually the one chasing me around with halls or something to make sure I don't lose my voice. So
He probably doesn't know what you sound like.
it's so true. Okay, crossing fingers, lots of tea. We're going to make sure it doesn't happen.
Number 3.
All right, so this should be no surprise that a Too Many Bones game is on my list. So Too Many Bones Undertow. And this holds a special place in my heart because Suzanne and I loaned our voices to their Kickstarter campaign. So you can go back and listen to that if you get a little bit how we sound as Gearlock characters. So if you're familiar with Too Many Bones, it's a cooperative game, and in this version, this one is for 1 to 2 players, and they've introduced 2 new Gearlock characters, and you can actually implement Gearlocks from the previous game, so just the Too Many Bones game, into this game. So you're basically facing new baddies, so all the new monsters and bad guys, encounters, tyrants, and more battles. And so it's more of the same, but less players, and again, you can incorporate from the base game. So Too Many Bones Undertow. Very excited for this.
I'm not a huge cooperative fan, but I loved Too Many Bones. And,
okay, that game was epic, though. That was a good game.
And the component quality is just ridiculously amazing. So I think this one sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
But this is published by Chip Theory Games. My apologies, I didn't say who it was.
Now, I don't think this next game is going to be for sale at Origins, which bums me out, but I'm hoping to actually get to play it because I saw it at Gamma, but I didn't get to play it at Gamma, and that is Nyctophobia from Pandasaurus Games. One of the most innovative, creative concepts I've seen in a while out of board games, where the designer, this young woman designer, was inspired by the fact that she played board games with her uncle who is blind, and tried to reverse that and go, okay, well, what if every other gamer had to experience what it was like to play without the benefit of sight? And here comes Nyctophobia, where it's a 1 versus mini game where you have this plastic board with these plastic components that represent the hunter and the hunted. The hunted are trying to escape while the hunter obviously is trying to track them down there, and it's all done by feel. You have blackout glasses, which I tried them on at Gamma, and it was wow. To have that sensory deprivation when you're used to having sight, it's frightening. It definitely changes the equation hugely. But you've got these pieces that have different textures on top. You put your hand on it and you're feeling around about what spaces are open. There's little fence pieces that can get in your way and stuff like that. It's all very tactile driven, a little bit memory driven. You're sending verbal clues to your fellow people trying to escape. The hunter's listening. Fascinating concept. I think it's so clever, and I'm very much looking forward to trying a real game of Nyctophobia.
Me too. I saw a lot of people playing it. Well, I saw pictures of people playing it at the gathering before I got there, and I know you had spoken about it, and it does look interesting. Like, I'm curious to see that sensation, how it feels, and put yourself in someone else's shoes. And I think I'm looking forward to at least trying it.
I haven't played this, but it's like a high concept game that I hope is as good as it sounds.
Sure.
I will say the board itself looks bland.
Sure.
Yeah, I know that's not what the game's about necessarily. Well, again, we'll have to wait and see. Is it a one-trick pony? Is it actual, or is it something people are going to play more than once?
We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
All right, my next tip is to go through the exhibit hall. This seems like a given, but you'd be surprised when people are like, I'll get around to it. Take your time and go through the whole thing. Yes, we know that the Kickstarter skulkers are in the back, where you walk by and you're like, trying to walk down the middle of the aisle and not give them full eye contact. You're like trying to glance out of the corner of your eye at this booth, like, oh, that's interesting. And if you look at the guy, he's like, hey, do you want to hear more about my game? I have a 1-minute pitch, but it's going to take an hour.
Oh, no.
And so, but you know what? You might find some cool stuff, right? You really might. And some of the big publishers start it in those back corners.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. So don't just do the front at the beginning. Yeah, there's all those big, cool publishers. And there's definitely a lot of those Kickstarter guys there, but you will enjoy it. Check it out. Look around at the different things. And it's okay to say, no, I'm just looking, right? And they'll let you go. You go to the next booth. And eventually you'll find something cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing that.
Well, this is it. I know I've said it before, but, we're doing the whole vlogging thing, so we'll definitely be strolling the hall. If you see us, come say hi. Get a little camera time.
Number 2.
Oh, boy. So the next game, I know, surprising this is on my list because everybody knows how much I love dexterity games, but Ice Cool 2. I don't own the original Ice Cool.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. I've always played it at a friend's place, just pop over. I mean, you get to flick penguins, and I'm actually not too bad at it, so that's probably why I like it. So Ice Cool 2, which is published by Brain Games, as I said before, it's a dexterity game, and I believe with this version, you can play it as a standalone, but you can also use it as an expansion for Ice Cool. And it has, I believe it has, what is it here? It has a new game mode in it called The Race, and I think you can play with more players if you combine this with the base game. You can play up to 8, if I'm not mistaken, and then you get to create your own layouts. Yeah, with the second one. But if you play it on its own, fish moving power for 2-point cards, and then you get optional tournament scoring, and then tasks on 1-point cards. So I like the fact that there's lots of options. So for me, this appeals to me. I don't have the first one, so I can at least get the second one, and then later on combine it if I want to. So Ice Cool 2 looks fun.
Yeah, it's definitely... Ice Cool for me is like a 7 or an 8. Ice Cool 2 makes it into a 9.
Whoa.
Wow.
And the reason for that is, now, just so you know, Ice Cool 2 is the same as Ice Cool 1. The only differences are 4 new penguin colors. Everything is a mirror image of the first game. And they changed the rule about the 1-point cards. Now there's some goals you can try, like jumping and things like that. But when you put them together, make these huge layouts, and now you can play a regular game of Ice Cool with 2 people chasing the other penguins down. But the race mode is what I like. You have to go through a bunch of doorways and then get your penguins into the final room. But because of the nature of this layout, it's not a linear race, so you can go in different directions to maybe get somewhere faster than other people.
Oh, cool.
Really, really fun. So if you have Ice Cool 1, buy Ice Cool 2, or you're a fool. I'm just kidding. That's probably too strong. Or you're not smart.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew it.
All right.
I'm looking forward to what you're going to say, Suzanne, because I have one of these checked off on my list.
All right, yeah. I am so excited to pick up the graphic novel adventures from Van Ryder Games. Some of these were published in Europe, and I actually went to some extreme to get Captive, which was the one that was published in English in Germany, and I saw it from Blue Orange Games over in Germany, actually. And I was like, I've got to try this thing. And it is a choose-your-own-adventure, solitaire, RPG graphic novel.
That's a lot.
And I played through Captive. I've played through it twice. I have died very ugly deaths twice. It scares, Captive specifically scares it scares me. It's dark. The theme on Captive is dark. And I know Mandy is because thematically you're trying to rescue your kidnapped daughter, and
wow.
But it is a fabulous experience. There's a lot of page flipping, but I love that experience. And now they've got 4 more, I think. Werewolf themed one, a Western themed one, a Sherlock Holmes one. And I just loved my experience of going through Captive so much. I'm really excited to try the other ones. And I know they're going to have a few pre-Gen Con copies at Origins, so this one's pretty big on my gotta get there early list to pick up the new graphic novel adventures from Van Ryder Games.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I backed. I backed one, but if I see a few more, then I'll try and pick them up.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely like them a lot.
Have you played through the new ones, Tom?
The kid ones?
No, the new ones, like the Sherlock Holmes or the Tears of the Goddess or anything?
No.
Okay.
But I did get a couple that were for kids, but I don't think they're from Van Ryder, but they were the exact same thing.
Oh, cool. Oh.
I haven't seen them in a week because my kids took them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
All right, so my next tip is come by our booth. We say this all the time, and I really mean it. If I'm standing there at the booth, you are not bothering me to come by and say hi. We really would like to say hi. It's one of our few chances to get to say hi to people, so come by. We don't care if you buy promos, although if you buy them, we like you a little bit better. No, we're kidding. We're kidding. But, just come by and say hi, or come see what's – you can, watch the video magic happen. Watch Derek as he sits at the board and presses all kinds of buttons and do hickeys. But and of course, come by Saturday morning and just get on our live stream and see what happens there. But yeah, just come by and say hi to us. I'll be there. Suzanne, Mandy, Z, Sam, Eric Summerer, Mike Parkinson, Chaz Marler, and a bunch of Mike Austin. I'm going to forget someone.
Robert.
That's where you start getting in trouble when you list
Robert
names.
Geislinger.
No, I don't think he's coming. No, he's Rob Geislinger.
I was like,
yes, I know. I'm sorry. If there's the one name I could forget, it would have been his. But yeah, come by and say hi to us. We'd love to talk to you guys, and we really look forward to seeing you at our booth, which is in Hall C, the place to be.
But no, I have to reiterate, because I get so many people who always tell me, "Oh, you look like you were really busy," or "Tom looked like he was busy," or "Suzanne, I didn't want to disturb you." I'm like, please disturb us. We do these things for you. Come say hi.
Okay, there's two times I don't want to be disturbed. One is when I'm carrying a giant stack of games from one spot to the other. That doesn't happen very often. The other is breakfast. If I'm eating alone, then I mean that. But any other meal, if you see me like, hey, I don't mind. But I remember at UK Games Expo a couple years ago, I went and I sat in a corner facing away from everybody and read a book in the morning. I just kind of, my quiet time. And some guy came up to me and he said, I see that you're sitting away from everybody and you obviously want to be alone. And then proceeded to sit down and talk to me for 20 minutes. But that's the rarity, right? We don't want you to think that, though. We want you to talk to us. We want you to come by and say hi. So, yeah, if you see me playing a game, I'm not busy. If I wanted no one to come by, and also you can look at the games we're playing. People always like, can I look at this? I'm like, yes. If I didn't want you to look at the game, we would have played in a secret place somewhere. Come by.
All right.
For sure.
Absolutely.
All right. We are wrapping this up. Gosh, there's a ton of stuff to look forward to. Mandy, you and I have one more game shared on our not a top 10 list.
And finally,
but
number one.
Definitely very, very high on my anticipated list. I don't think they're selling it, though. But I would love just to get a demo of it, because I'm pretty excited to check it out.
Yeah.
And this is Coimbra.
Yes, I think
from
Eggertspiel.
Plan B?
Well, is it
right?
Eggertspiel and Plan B? I guess.
Or Eggertspiel.
Eggertspiel.
It's Eggertspiel.
Yeah.
You're right. It's Eggertspiel.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about it. I actually don't know a ton about it. I've seen it, and it looks really cool. But I don't know what...
Tom's played it.
Well, this is an excellent everything in a basket style game. I don't know what you call them. Point style, what have you. It's done by the same group of guys who have done all the great Euro games I love. It's a dice drafting game. At the beginning, you're going to pick some dice, and the number and the color both matter. So you're going to pick some of these dice, and then when you pick these dice, you'll be able to buy some tiles and put them in front of you, which will enhance future actions. And the color of the dice you pick will move you up farther on these tracks, which will make your actions in the future better. And there's a gazillion ways to get points. Honestly, it's really hard for me to dump it down shorter than that. I've done a full overview of the game. I like it. I'd probably give it 8 out of 10.
Wow.
And that's without seeing the final components. But it's pretty good. Right now, the Plan B Eggertspiel combo is just knocking it out of the park.
Well, and this is the same design team behind Lorenzo Il Magnifico.
Which I still haven't played.
That is correct. It's not as good as Lorenzo. Lorenzo's amazing. It's not as good, but it's pretty close.
Well, and
did you
just visually... Coimbra is gorgeous.
It is.
I love that Euro-style games are branching out in their artistic styles. I think Eagle Gryphon does a great job with their massive boxes, but like Lisboa and things like a Gallerist, where they just take a different twist on the art style, and Coimbra feels like they've taken a little twist on... It's thematically very traditional, Italian-y, Renaissance-y, but the art style just feels lush and artistic, and I love it. I think it's gorgeous.
Well, I know a few people have mentioned to me, like, Mandy, this is your type of game. They're like, you will definitely really enjoy this. So this is why I'm like, okay, I have to put it on the list. I saw people playing it, but I haven't seen too much online. Like basically what Tom was saying, like it's a lot to go through in a short amount of time. So I'm like, okay, I just need to play it. And on that note, I still haven't played Lorenzo. It's still sitting on my shelf in plastic.
It's good.
Really?
I really want to try the expansion now.
Well, how about you teach me the base game at Origins or somebody? I know Tom loves it. Tom can do it.
I can teach it.
Okay.
Like, what did you do at Origins? I taught Mandi and Suzanne a bunch of
Pretty
games.
much.
I like this. Our personal game teacher. I'm down with it. We're going to be in the booth together anyway, so it works for me.
Why not?
But we really do need to wrap this up, and I think we're headed into the most important tip
Yes.
of this episode.
I agree.
If you ignore
I agree. For
everything
once,
else from this show, Tom, bring it. Let's hear it.
For once, my co-host will get off my back about this, and that is eating out. No, listen, this boggles my mind. I know you're there, you're having fun, and you're playing games, and you're looking, and you're like, there's a piece of pizza for $6. That doesn't look good at all, but I don't want to leave playing games. Leave. Seriously. It's good for your sanity. It's good to walk. It's good to go to a restaurant. And the restaurants in Columbus are amazing. And they're also there's so many that are really close to the convention. Like there's a great, obviously North Market, which is right across the street practically. That's a fantastic place to find a lot of great food. Then there's Melt's and there's the Schmidt's German restaurant and there's the Barley's right across the street. There's so many good places to eat that are within walking distance or a short Uber trip. You really shouldn't eat. And even if you don't want to leave the convention center, there's a food court that you can walk to in there. Again, that's better than eating that nasty pizza that's been sitting there forever. Don't do that. Don't sit there and say, let's stay there. It's also just good to get out and talk to people and just spend time. I highly recommend it. And Origins is my favorite place to do it at.
This is what I've heard year after year about Origins. And you know, it is one of my biggest complaints about conventions is the food at conventions typically. It's just very subpar. And I hear you all talk about Origins and the North Market year after year, and I'm so excited I finally get to try it myself. So I
think we should have like a sampling,
I don't know where I'm gonna start.
Sampling plate, you know? Just like they should have like an Origins special, and each place just makes like a little sample and then offer this plate for you to try and sample the different foods.
I like it.
Cool. That's the most important advice I can give you.
Best advice ever. If you are at Origins, as we've said, we hope that we get to see you there, that you stop by, visit us at the booth. It's going to be a fabulous show for all of us. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Always good to guest on the Dice Tower.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the next episode of the Dice Tower podcast is going to be the one that we record at Origins.
That's correct. Yes. So all problems of that episode, please blame Eric Summer. But yes, we'll be doing that one soon, and some of you can see that live.
Love it. As always, thank you everybody for joining us. It's awesome that we have you as listeners. It means so much to us that you join us for all of our gaming chatter. If you have any questions for us, don't forget we have fancy new emails, and we always love to build up a little docket of questions to answer in Q&A sessions. You can email me at Suzanne@Dicetower.com.
You can email me, Mandi, that's Mandi with an I, at Dicetower.com.
And you can email me at, don't email me at Dicetower.com. Actually, no. No, listen, if they email, don't email me at Dicetower.com. It actually will go to So you can email Tom at Dicetower.com or idiot at Dicetower.com also comes to me. So I need to redirect some of the obvious ones to like certain people, like Grouch goes to this point. That'd be me, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Tom
we know
at
who that would be.
Dicetower.com.
Alrighty, everybody. Until next episode, have fun gaming.
Thanks for listening. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. This podcast is sponsored by listeners like you. Thank you for your continued support. And speaking of support, the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund is an organization dedicated to helping gamers in need. Learn more about the fund's mission and how you can help at jackvassell.org. The Dice Tower is produced by Tom, Suzanne, Mandi, and Eric, with assistance from Itai Perez, Derek Porter, Rob Searing, and Jeff Rademacher. Our theme is composed by Timothy Pinkham and arranged by Matt Bellier. And hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc. Let us know what you think of the show by posting to the Dice Tower Guild at BoardGameGeek.com, following the Dice Tower on Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all the gang at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming. Okay, everyone, it is that time again. 2 truths and a lie. So we have Tom joining us, but first we are going to look at the reveals for Susan and myself from the last podcast. So I am not scared of snakes, I am not scared of insects, and I am not scared of large animals. If you said I am not scared of insects, that would be the lie. I am absolutely terrified of insects.
Even ladybugs?
Ugh.
What about ladybugs?
So, there you go. I don't like ladybugs either. You know the yellow ones? They bite you. We have them here. Ugh. Don't like insects. Suzanne, what about you?
Well, and I have just a hint of it. Even though they're not technically insects, I've seen you react to spiders in the hotel room, and that was not pretty.
Oh, that's legitimate. That's legitimate. Spiders are evil.
Come on, those... thank you.
God's creatures,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Come on now.
No, ladybugs are fine.
I'm sorry, but... Yeah.
All right, my reveal from last episode was I sleep with 8 pillows, I can't fall asleep in silence, and I have flannel sheets. I must have been very sleepy last episode when we recorded. And the lie is I have flannel sheets. I don't... They're too sticky and rough to sleep on. I don't understand how people sleep on flannel sheets. But
Do you have a high thread count?
I do have 8 pillows on my bed. It's ridiculous.
All right, let's get on to the new ones. So, I'm very excited for this. So, actually, you know what? Let's start with Tom.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, first of all, one of these is a lie, right? Okay, so I have never, ever since I started running the Dice Tower, I have never gone a week without playing at least a game. I've never gone more than 7 days without playing any games.
Okay.
Ooh.
Or,
Okay.
in the last 2 years, I have played at least one game every single day, except for maybe a holiday or something. But for the most part, every day of every week, I play a game.
All right.
Uh-huh.
And on the airplane recently, I watched the new movie, Game Night. And in that movie, there was a game that they played. They played Monopoly and a lot of other stuff. But there was one game I actually really liked that they played.
Ooh, you're good at this game, Tom, because all those sound plausible to me.
I agree. I don't know. I'm kind of going with the first one. That's what I think. I actually don't know. So the last one seems too detailed. We'll find out.
All right, Mandy.
Okay. You want me to go? Okay, I'll go. So one of my favorite U.S. cities to visit is New York. One of my favorite U.S. cities to visit is Orlando.
Yay!
And one of my favorite cities to visit is Las Vegas.
And for me, I love Chicago-style pizza. I love New York-style pizza. And I love St. Louis-style pizza.
I actually love all those, but New York is the best.
Well, good thing it's not your
Yes,
2
New
truths
York
and a
is pretty
lie,
tasty.
huh?
It bothers me that you don't love one of these. All right, well, we'll see.
You'll find out.
Oh, wow. Well, exactly. So thanks, everyone, for joining, and good luck with the 2 truths and a lie. This episode is sponsored by Deadpool vs. the World. New from USAopoly is Deadpool vs. the World. Deadpool makes his mark on adult gaming in Deadpool vs. the World, a hilarious party game for mature audiences. Featuring 100 custom illustrations of Deadpool in very strange and unsightly situations, players face off against their friends by filling in the blanks on caption cards to provide the most outrageous explanations of the Merc with a mouth predicaments. The player who best describes Deadpool's compromising situations wins the game. Available for pre-order at your favorite local game store today.